Ladies and gentlemen, fight fans all around the world, you are watching What You Need.
We're going to examine the punch stats for Mayweather versus Berto. And we're going to compare it to Mayweather versus Pacquiao, because some people are saying that this fight with Berto, it actually turned out to be a better fight than against Pacquiao. That is, Berto was a better opponent. We're going to check that out. But first and foremost, I have to correct an error here in CompuBox. So, obviously, we have three categories of statistics, which has to do with the total punches, the jabs, and the power punches. Okay? There are three sets of data there. Okay? It's the same thing for Mayweather versus Pacquiao. Right? Okay. So, basically, you have punches thrown, then you have punches landed, and then you have the connect percentage. Okay? For all three categories. Now, if you look at the left column here, which is the Mayweather column, everything seems to be okay. That is to say, if I add up my jabs and my power punches, whether they're thrown or connected, they add up to the total amounts. But when you look on the right side at Berto's column, which is this one right here, you will notice that the jabs and power punches, the data for them thrown and connected, do not add up to the totals. In fact, the power punches data actually completely matches the total punches data. And that is not possible. So one of two things, either the total punches data is wrong or the power punches data is wrong. And I believe that it's the power punches data that's wrong, because the commenter said that Andre Berto, he averages 40 plus punches a round. And when you multiply 40 by 12, you get 480 punches. So 480 plus punches sounds like the amount he threw. So I believe this data is correct, and I think in making the entry, they probably tabulated everything correctly, but in making the entry of the power punches, they repeated this data here for some reason. They made a mistake. So how do I get that data? Well, it's very, very simple. If power punches and jabs, you add them up to get a total, then you need to subtract the jabs from the total to get the power punches. So 301 take away 495 tells me that Berto threw 194 punches, and 39 subtracted from 83 tells me he landed 44. That's a percentage a little higher than 17%. It's 23%. He threw a respectable amount of jabs. He landed a very small portion of them. But again, against Mayweather, this is not bad. But you must remember that Berto's jab was effective not necessarily in landing, but in pushing Mayweather back to the ropes. That's what the jab was for. He had a very good jab, by the way. Now, Paulie Malignaggi, he commented that Berto, he was trying too hard to throw everything with power. That's just Berto's style, but nonetheless, he didn't vary the jab. And Paulie knows how to jab. I mean, Paulie's the king of the jab. So he was saying if Berto would just relax a little bit more and vary the speed of his jab, vary the timing of his jab, he could really give Floyd Mayweather a little bit more problems. Also feint the jab. He could push Mayweather back that way as well. Of course, easier said than done. The other thing that Paulie said was that Andre Berto, while he was fast as Floyd Mayweather, and you see Berto's a very quick guy, and he has a very quick foot movement, and he's very explosive. But the other thing Paulie was hoping Berto would have done was he wouldn't just try to load up on his power punches. That overhand right missed most of the night, or even if it did connect, it connected when Mayweather was riding the punch. So that Paulie was saying, instead of loading up so much on those rights and trying to throw such hard rights, sometimes just touch him with the right so you can get range. Touch him with the right, and maybe touch him with the right and come hard with the left hook, you know. And Berto had some success throwing that left hook in the fight. He also had some success throwing some body punches. I was kind of amazed. Berto even threw an uppercut on Floyd at a certain point in the fight, and he landed that uppercut really nice when Floyd was against the ropes. You know, and Berto threw a couple combinations, but because of Floyd's shell, you really basically hit mostly elbows and arms. You know, it's very hard to hit Floyd flushly to his body because of the angles he cuts. But Berto even caught him on the top of the head when he was rolling under like a Perrin Whitaker style, which is pretty good. Floyd's pretty tough as well. Berto was able to create damage on Floyd. He busted his eye, and he was also able to allow a little bit of blood to trickle from his lip, even though he didn't put a bump on his lip or anything like that, which was pretty good. I mean, you were talking about a guy that's a lot more skilled than you, and he knows how to use that skill. Floyd knows what to do on the inside, how to tie up, how to even close the distance, walk to Berto, and land those body punches on him. Especially he worked Berto's spleen to sort of slow down his jab and slow down Berto a bit. And once he slowed down Berto a bit, he had fun for the rest of the night. Now, how effective was Berto against Floyd Mayweather? Well, these percentages show that overall he was 17% accurate at hitting Floyd. But you also have to consider what happened with Floyd. Floyd was 50% accurate at hitting Berto. So the chasm or the gulf between the two percentages is what you have to look at, and that's 40%. Now, was Berto more aggressive than Manny Pacquiao? Absolutely. He was more aggressive. In fact, I think that Berto threw more punches than Pacquiao, if I'm not mistaken. And he took more risk than Pacquiao, so he got hit more, which led to a much more exciting fight. In fact, I must say that Berto actually had a very decent defense. Even though Floyd tagged him with 57% of his punches, I must say that a lot of them weren't absolutely clean punches. They actually hit some of Berto's guard. Berto was actually able to slip. You know, Berto himself is a pretty slick fighter. He's pretty slick. He gets out of the way of punches. He's pretty athletic as well. So a lot of times when Floyd did actually tag him, it wasn't exactly a very flush tag until later on in the fight. You know, around 8, 9, 10, 11, Floyd took over the fight, and he was really landing some really sharp punches. Even the uppercuts, the spare jabs, the left hooks, they were all pretty flush. But for the most part, Berto took away Floyd's overhand right for most of the fight. And he blocked a lot of Floyd's check hooks and his left hooks, which is pretty good for Berto. So his defense was pretty good, I must say. Now, in terms of Berto and Pacquiao, well, as you can see, more or less the same. More or less the same in terms of their success at hitting Floyd. The difference is that Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather had difficulty hitting Pacquiao. His percentage moved down from the high 60s and 50s to 34%. So Pacquiao was a lot more cautious and a lot more tactical than Andre Berto was. And the chasm between Mayweather and Pacquiao is actually a mere 15%, showing you that Pacquiao was quite effective at making Floyd miss, and also quite effective at throwing punches at Floyd and actually landing him a little bit better than Berto. Now, Pacquiao was rated at the time the number 2 welterweight in the world. Berto wasn't even ranked in the top 10, and look at that. Look at that. They have about the same effectiveness against Floyd Mayweather, just showing you how good Floyd Mayweather Jr. is. Of course, Floyd had more success against Berto in landing on him, showing you the difference in the quality of fighter. More of a chess match against Pacquiao. But still at the same time, you can see that it really doesn't matter what opponent faces Floyd. Basically, he beats them the same way. They have that amount of success, and that's a credit to his defense. He has an extraordinary defense. Now, so Pacquiao and Berto, they had about the same effectiveness. Now, in terms of excitement, some people say, well, you know, Mayweather versus Pacquiao was a dud, and Mayweather versus Berto was the same dud. Okay, I hear that. Some other people think that Berto was much more exciting than Pacquiao was because he took more risk and came in. He didn't fear Mayweather. He wasn't really, you know, enthralled by him. And he was able to back Mayweather up to the ropes. And Pacquiao was able to do very much the same, except Floyd looked better against Pacquiao when he check-hooked Pacquiao into the turnbuckle. He didn't do that against Berto. He didn't check-hook Berto into the turnbuckle. And his jab was very effective on Floyd in hitting him and also pushing him back. He also threw and landed more jabs than Pacquiao. Pacquiao landed 18 jabs, Berto 39. He threw more punches than Pacquiao. Pacquiao threw 429. Berto threw 495. And Berto seemed to be in ridiculous shape, I mean, for this fight. He took those punches like a man, and he kept on coming at Floyd. You know, and he cut off the ring pretty well. I heard Virgil Hunter say, man, he's nothing. He's going to wear down. Get in him. Get in his face. And Berto really did it, man. He really stuck it to Floyd. Just that Floyd had more experience. He was just very, very slippery in there. Even when Berto, you know, got him against the ropes, it was just hard to get Floyd. Floyd would, you know, spin the tables on Berto and land some combinations on him. It was great stuff. There was a lot more action than with the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight in terms of exchanges. But what I can tell you is that that for some people that's not equaling to excitement. You have to land more punches and that stuff. But I would say that by and large, to me, I think Berto won about the same amount of rounds as Pacquiao. I had him winning 3 rounds, and really good rounds, because he caught Floyd with that beautiful left hook that really just rocked Floyd to the side. But Floyd's a very tough guy, and he does ride punches pretty well, even though he was late in riding that punch. But Berto did bust up his eye. Okay, Pacquiao didn't do that. Now, Pacquiao did give Floyd a swollen lip, but Berto, you know, busted his mouth and busted his eye. So Berto did a little bit more damage, you know. It was just a great exhibition of defense by Floyd Mayweather once again. And that's why they say he's one of the great defensive fighters of all time. All right, you guys. You have a great one.